Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a brand new, fresh episode of Dodgers Territory. I'm Alanna Rizzo. That is Clint Pasillas. We are your hosts for the next half an hour. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, all of the good things. We're creeping up on 10,000 subs, and we are happy that you are with us. By the way, we have a special programming note for you.
Yeah.
Clint, of course. We have a watch party that we're going to be doing. It's going to be through the playback system. Big event for Wednesday's game. It's a 1 p.m. Pacific game, so early in Los Angeles, 4 p.m. on the East Coast. Join us as we will be doing an alternate broadcast of the game on playback. Now, if you have an MLB TV account, you can watch the game and us calling it. If you don't, you can still join us. You just won't be able to see the game itself on the same device. Go to playback.tv/foul territory and create a free account. Again, we're doing this for the first time on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific. So tune in to that. We're excited to do that with
You'll be there. I'll be there.
We'll both be there, yes. Dave Vassegh is in Washington, D.C., of course, covering the Dodgers as he does every single game. Kind enough to join us now from Nationals Park. Dave, thank you so much. I know it's been a crazy day for you and for the team as you guys went to visit the White House. What was that experience like? Welcome back to the show.
No, it was my first time being behind the gates. I've seen the White House, but from the park across the street. So for a radio kid from the San Fernando Valley that covers the Dodgers to be in there definitely was a surreal experience. Just to see how all of this works behind the scene. And when we first got there, obviously it's a process to even get a press credential for this specific event because there's a lot of news going on in the world, and you see all of that happening while this moment for the Dodgers is happening as well. Once you get through the security gates, you're going to a different security gate, you're given a press badge, and then they take you to the briefing room, which is so tiny you wouldn't believe where these major news conferences happen, how tiny the press room is, the briefing room is. It is not as luxurious as you might believe or spacious as you might believe. And then from there, they took us outside. You wait there to go into the East Room, and man, that place was filled up. I would say close to 300 people were in that East Room, and it was politicians from different parts of the government that were there to get a glimpse of these rock stars that are the Dodgers. So it was a surreal experience just to see how it works behind the scenes.
Yeah, no question about it. Obviously, the Dodgers not able to go there in 2020 after that World Series win because of COVID and stuff. Clayton Kershaw spoke as a representative of the Dodgers, and give us a gist, Dave, of his speech when Clayton got up there to address that room.
Yeah, what was the biggest difference between this visit in 25 and when the Dodgers went in 21 is that we were still coming out of the pandemic. So the East Room was not as crowded. It was a limited number of people that were allowed in that East Room. And so it seemed like it meant a lot to everybody to be celebrated under normal circumstances. Being out of the pandemic is what I mean by normal circumstances, and certainly the fruits of everybody's labor, last year. This is part of the tradition of being a world champion. Not only get the ring ceremony, your first or second home game, but also to get to go to the White House and, have that. You had the White House band playing "We Love LA." I mean, those things are special, no matter when it is.
To get out of the White House and get back to the team and what we've seen so far on the field. Start of the season, great. Philly hit a little bit of a buzzsaw there, maybe some self-inflicted wounds for this team. What's the state of the clubhouse coming out of that Philly series and heading into a 3-game set with the Nats?
I just think disappointed, right, Clint? Because they could have swept the Phillies. The Phillies could have swept them. The Phillies match up really well against the Dodgers. They've beaten them 9 out of the last 11 times they've played the Dodgers. So it's not just a blip on the screen. The Phillies probably match up best against the Dodgers. I wouldn't say their bullpen matches up as well as the Dodgers, but their offense certainly can take advantage of things. And then yesterday, obviously, very disappointing showing by Tyler Glasnow to have, for a lack of better term, a meltdown because of the rain. I mean, you don't see that happen too often, and that's a little concerning.
You mentioned Tyler Glasnow and dealing with obviously everything in his cleats and the rain and all of the stuff on the mound and stuff. But there was also, Dave, I think in the first game that they lost, they kind of ran themselves into outs in terms of running on the bases. And in this particular game yesterday, it wasn't just the Glasnow meltdown, as you called it, but it was also just so many walks given up.
Yeah.
In addition to that meltdown that you had mentioned, but the Dodgers, honestly, as you mentioned, could have swept the series at the very least, taken 2 of 3 from the Fightins. I mean, do they look at it as like they kind of beat themselves in this series?
Yeah, and if you go back to last Wednesday when Otani had the walk-off home run, the offense came to the rescue. So scoring runs is not the issue. And their offense is going to save them on days where they don't play their best. But, when we're looking ahead, we're thinking about how the Dodgers may be playing in October, and they still got a long way to go to be able to say they're playing as well as they were at the end of last season as far as the base running goes. And also the defense has been a little shaky. Andy Pajes has been a little shaky in center field. The left side of the infield has looked better recently, but, at times looked shaky as well. So to me, if you're asking what the vulnerabilities of this Dodger team are, right now they're making some mental miscues and their defense is a little shaky.
Yeah, before we dive into that defense a little bit, there was one positive spotlight there in that Phillies series, and that was Roki Sasaki getting into the fourth inning, getting through 4 innings, not arguably, his best start as a big leaguer. What's kind of your taste on Roki Sasaki through his first 3 big league starts, trending in the right direction?
Yeah, and after the game, he talked about how he worked on being more in his legs, using his legs more, and that obviously helped him because he only had 2 walks in 4+ innings. So, yeah, that was a big deal. And don't discount the fact that Austin Barnes was his catcher. Barnes had caught the last few bullpens, and obviously is able to get those low strikes, being a really great receiver. So, I think that factored into it as well.
No question about it. I want to talk to you, Dave, about your boy, Snellzilla. He's on the IL, obviously, with shoulder inflammation, retroactive back to April 3rd. And we knew that when Blake Snell was signed in the offseason, it was a big get. This is a guy that you wanted to have, but they also wanted him to be their quote-unquote workhorse. It's a little problematic, I think, that he's already on the IL here in April. What do you make of it?
I think, look, there's no discounting the fact that Blake is not one of the best April pitchers in baseball, but he's been
Mm-hmm.
dealing with this for, a couple of weeks. So it's better to play it on the safe side rather than try to push it in March and April. Blake has the experience of understanding it's a marathon, not a sprint. He'll be there when it counts the most for the Dodgers. And Dave Roberts said he doesn't see this lingering too long, probably going to miss 2 starts.
It's not too bad. That's not too bad. I mean, you want to keep him as healthy as you can. Obviously, this is a team that cares more about October than April, even though all games are created equal. Getting back to what we were talking about before, a little bit of that the defensive, we'll call them woes a little bit. Center field definitely did not look pretty for this team with Andy Pajes in Philadelphia there. Growing pains for the second year outfielder for sure. We knew entering spring training it was going to be an area of concern. Maybe Tommy Edman was going to be the guy who ended up being the kind of everyday dude in center field, but now it is Andy Pajes, and the average isn't there, the routes aren't there. Is this a situation where maybe a little bit of AAA time could help him get back on track, or what do you think the team's kind of feeling is right now with Pajes?
Well, first and foremost, it's only 11 games. Number
Fair.
two, he's not a center fielder. I mean, that's not his strongest position. So in some ways, he's out of position because he's a better corner outfielder. So if you saw him play last year in center, he never had this feel that it was a smooth situation defensively. So I'll say that in his defense, but he's got to hit better. I mean, he's hitting ninth. That's an important spot in the Dodger order. He's got to get on base somehow, whether it's a walk or a hit, because you're turning the lineup over for Otani and Mookie and Freddie when he's back. So hitting ninth for the Dodgers is a big spot. It's not just a throwaway spot in the lineup.
And Dave, how much do you think Freddie Freeman being on the IL, obviously, and having somebody else have to play first base? I mean, bring Tommy Edman in from the outfield to play second, where Tommy should be in center field. So many different positions just because of the IL stint to Freddie. How much do you factor, or how much is that a factor in your opinion?
Well, Tommy's a Gold Glove second baseman. I call him the glue because you got right now three other infielders that are out of position, or maybe defense isn't their strongest suit. So Tommy Edman being at second base has been really the biggest strength for the Dodgers infield, with Freddie Freeman being out. So the reason why the Dodgers have Kike at first base, who had a really nice game yesterday, is because they want to keep Muncy at third, since that's where he's going to play. And this is a short-term thing. Freddie can come off the IL as soon as the Dodgers return back from this East Coast road trip at the end of the week. So that's the thinking on why Kike's playing first and Muncy's playing third. But Tommy Edman and Teoscar Hernandez, to me, are the two biggest unsung heroes of this team so far to start the year, and even last year.
You mentioned the phrase "out of position," and everybody has an opinion about Marcus Lynn Betts as the shortstop. You mentioned 11 games in, still very small sample size. We're seeing still some growing pains there for Mookie. Is it going to be? I'm not questioning Mookie Betts. I'll never question Mookie Betts again in my life. But is this something where we see this lasting throughout the season? Any thoughts about Mookie at short?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what the rest of the season brings. But he's getting better. I feel like he's getting more comfortable. But, it's not just about fielding ground balls, right? And making throws to first base. There's a feel that a shortstop has to have. There's instincts a shortstop has to have. And most shortstops have it because they played there their whole life. I'm talking about cutoffs. I'm talking about relays. I'm talking about turning double plays. Those are the type of things that a lot of people don't realize goes into being the most important position on the infield. So with time, the Dodgers are going to evaluate whether or not Mookie gets those feels and being at the right place at the right time, rather than just looking at it simply as, is he fielding ground balls and making throws?
Yeah, I never worry about Mookie Betts. I never will at all. Let me ask you this, Dave, before we let you go. What is the starting pitching plan while you were there in D.C., obviously, with Snell on the IL? Do they have a bullpen game on Wednesday? Is it a spot start? How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, so they need a starter tomorrow and Wednesday. They're going to give Yamamoto an extra day off. So only one of those can be a bullpen day. And we all know if you look at the Dodgers Oklahoma City rotation, it's basically a major league rotation at AAA. So they have that luxury to call up any one of those guys, Landon Knack, Bobby Miller, Justin Robleski, any of those guys. And Matt Sauer was activated with the intention of him probably being part of something Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, all right, Dave Vassegh, from the White House to Dodgers territory, we appreciate you very much. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. I know you got to run, so we'll see you soon, Dave. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Thanks, Alanna. Thanks, Clint.
Take it easy, Dave.
All right, Dave Vassegh does a great job, of course, on AM 570. We're going to talk a lot more about the Dodgers, of course, coming up. But back in a moment, Clint, a quick word from AJ Pierzynski, Eric Kratz, and Scott Braun on Hungryroot.
Kratz, do you like spending an hour on grocery shopping?
Nope. Speed up the process, please.
Introducing Hungryroot to the FT fam.
Now we can all be bougie with our own personal shopper to handle the food shopping, including Rex, based on what you're looking to put in your body.
I stack my Hungryroot box with items like gluten-free, dairy-free blueberry waffles for breakfast, shrimp veggie bowls for lunch, and a little filet mignon with potatoes and broccolini for dinner.
You can also say just, hey, Hungryroot, I eat paleo, or I'm vegetarian, and they load up your cart with personalized recommendations.
And those recs keep evolving as they learn about what you're into. Also, no BS, as in no artificial sweeteners or preservatives in any of Hungryroot's food. You're going to love Hungryroot as much as FT does. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/FT and use code FT. That's hungryroot.com/FT, code FT to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
Big thank you to Hungryroot. Big thank you to David Vassegh from joining us from Nats Park there. Alanna, I do want to talk more about the center field situation, the Andy Pasillas situation. It hasn't been a great start to the season by any stretch of the imagination. You would imagine you could either have somebody who's hitting a little bit, or you could have somebody that's fielding a little bit. He's kind of doing a little bit of neither, and it seems like when one thing goes bad, it's sort of snowballing for the team right now. Is this a situation where we could see maybe the team opt to send him back to AAA, a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more confidence, rebuilding for him, perhaps at the end of this road trip?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case in terms of needing some confidence and getting those ABs and some more of defensive routes in center field or in the outfield rather in AAA. I think the thing is you got to wait until Freddie comes off of the IL. As Dave Vassegh said, he's eligible obviously to come off when the team goes back to Los Angeles, so then they can shift things around the way that they want to. Freddie goes back to first. Kike probably goes back to the bench. You have Tommy Edman doing what he's supposed to be doing, so everybody's kind of back into position. But I don't know what's been worse right now is the offense or lack thereof for Andy Pasillas. And again, to Dave's point, it's only been 11 games. Yeah. But some of the routes that he's been running have been very problematic and very head-scratching. I know one guy was saying that, Christopher Sanchez or whatever threw a knuckleball and, then he was like, the route was all over the place. But I'm like, it doesn't look like he's comfortable out there. He doesn't look comfortable in the box, and he doesn't look comfortable defensively. So I would not be surprised if they do send him down. Who do you bring up? Do you give Outman a shot? Like what's the corresponding move there? Yeah,
this kind of comes back to the fact that the Dodgers didn't necessarily execute a center field plan for this season. I mean, we heard, at FanFest, we heard entering spring training that Tommy Edman was going to be the guy. Of course, Ha-Seong Kim kind of struggling out of the gate during spring training, sort of changed that plan, in my opinion. But having Edman at second base has been phenomenal, but right now, if you're looking at this roster, he's kind of the only guy that can give you some offense. And I hate the idea of moving Edman out of second base because I think he's doing a phenomenal job there, but he's the only guy who can give you some offense and actually play a quality to above average center field. With mentioning James Outman, he's somebody who's not really hitting at AAA, didn't hit during spring training. I think Outman is 152 at AAA so far with a 542 a 542 OPS. Pasillas, we're struggling at the big league level. Ha-Seong Kim is doing better offensively at AAA. It seems like some of the changes are kind of starting to work their way into his swing, into his contact with the baseball. But that's another situation where Ha-Seong Kim is not a center fielder as well. And if we're talking about a team trying to go back-to-back in terms of World Series championships, to not have a championship level center fielder, I do wonder if this is something that could bite them in the ass sooner rather than later, because on both sides in the outfield Teoscar's a right fielder or a left fielder, and Michael Conforto at this point in his career is a right fielder or a left fielder, very thin at center. No, I don't think you move right field and left field around. I think you leave Conforto in left. I think you leave Teoscar in right. I think you get Ha-Seong Kim back up here, perhaps. There's some rumors, of course. He's getting hugs, handshakes, high fives in the dugout. Perhaps that means that he's coming back up to the big league level, but a 308 average with a 938 OPS there in the minor leagues. So he has been contributing offensively. He's playing a good second baseman there. Perhaps they bring him to second, which is why they signed him to begin with. And then they put Tommy Edman, who's obviously an elite second baseman, a Gold Glove second baseman. Maybe you put Tommy Edman in center field because they knew that he is versatile. Again, it's amazing how one domino affects the entire team. Freddie goes down and it just completely changes the complexion of the team. But again, it's been 11 games. They've only lost 2 of the 11. And again, I think both of those losses were self-inflicted. I mean, heads are not falling off yet, guys. Yet. But again, we are always nitpicking. When you have a team that is this good, you try to find whatever hole that they have and you try to fill that hole. Yeah, the expectations, again, are very different for this team. You can't really, you can play around right now early in the season with, let's say, Mookie Betts. And I'm not questioning Mookie Betts as a shortstop at all. You could play around with seeing what you still have in somebody like Max Muncy, getting his feet under him again as at third base and in the lineup with the bat and all this kind of stuff. But eventually down the road, I think center field is going to be that area where it's either going to be center field or second base that they need to figure out something, because Tommy Edman could play both of those. He can play both of those very, very well. He has a gold glove. He has hardware at one of those positions. But you also have a lot of second basemen, whether it be a Kike Hernandez, a Chris Taylor, a Hesong Kim. Then they all can play the position very well. Center field, again, this is going to be that spot where right now it's super early in the season, but we need to identify areas of concern for 2, 3, 4 months from now.
All right, so Freddie Freeman, this is a kid that always posts, right? Every single day he wants to be out there. He played incredibly hurt in the World Series. It is super weird not having him in the lineup. He's on the IL, minor injury, obviously slipped in the shower or whatever. I don't ever worry about Freddie Freeman and his durability. Is there any concern for you in terms of that?
I don't know that there's concern with it, or I mean a little bit, because they did say entering the season like his surgically repaired ankle was not going to be right until maybe All-Star break, and now we have a setback with this shower incident. So it is something where, I mean, it's Freddie Freeman. He's not the most fleet of foot, at this point in his career. He stole 20 bags a couple years ago, but that's not necessarily his game. He said during FanFest, he had pointed out, look, it always looks like I'm injured when I'm running anyways, as long as he's able to go station to station or go first to third. He's also, Freddie Freeman, he's going to find a way to score, like we saw him score during the World Series, where Mookie Betts had to kind of hold him and brace him after running all the way from first. But I love the idea of letting it kind of rest and marinate now, getting this ankle thing out of the way before it becomes a serious issue for him. But hopefully these 10 days down do help him, where it's not going to be an issue and he could be in there the rest of the way, because again, it's very weird not seeing Freddie Freeman in this lineup every single day, because that's just what he does.
Yeah. All right. So we started a poll over on our YouTube page. Check it out. We want to know if you want Pages to give him a chance. Should we relax when it comes to Pages, or should we send Andy Pages to the moon?
Why not both?
One thing I will take away from the series against the Philadelphia Phillies, I said this the other day, I wish we would have more laughers. I wish we didn't have to constantly come from behind and have these unbelievable comeback wins or walk-off wins. While they are fun, they are also nerve-wracking. So let's get a couple of laughers in there. But one thing I do take away as a positive is that they do continue to come back, despite not having a full lineup with Freddie Freeman out and Blake Snell on the shelf now. They do continue to come back and fight and claw and grind. Let's not have to do that against the Nats, but I guess that's a positive.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team to get right against. I don't know how much you need to get right when you're 9-2, but playing the 3-6 Nationals, I feel like the Dodgers are in a good spot to really capitalize. I had asked for a sweep last Thursday when I was just dicking around. I wanted them to sweep in Philly. I think you can, and you kind of have to sweep in Washington just to listen. Hey, in the NL West, we're seeing right now the Dodgers are not in first place right now. The San Francisco Giants are leading the National League West.
Well, that's only because the San Francisco Giants have played one fewer game. So the Dodgers have 2 losses. The Giants only have 1, but the Giants have played 1 fewer game than the Dodgers have too. So whatever.
I'm just saying I want to see them get themselves mentally back on track, play better baseball, cleaner baseball, none of those unforced errors like we saw in Philly and really in the final game where Shohei had to do his heroics on bobblehead night to walk off and keep that undefeated start to the season alive. Play better baseball. You all feel a lot better, and maybe that does start with sending Andy Pages to the moon or something like that at some point in time. But how you feeling, by the way? How you feeling? I agree. Scarlet and Blue says overreacting. I am overreacting because that's what we're kind of here to do a little bit on a Monday before the start of a series against a bad team. Alanna, what do you think? Sweep? You taking this series? How do you feel about this before we get to last licks?
No, I think we definitely take the series. It's hard to sweep on the road. It's hard to sweep, a team on the road. So I'm going to go with we take 2 of 3.
Yeah. I can see that.
I mean, I'm going to take 2 of 3, but I honestly do think we could have swept Philly. I really do. They don't have a very good bullpen. The Philadelphia Phillies do not have a good bullpen.
No.
But
fact that they were able to come back
I think,
multiple times. Dustin May tonight. Looking forward to
Correct.
that, by the way, for your Los Angeles
Correct.
Dodgers game too. But all of that aside, guys, Alanna, what do you think? We should get into last licks?
Let's do it. All right, guys, you've been introduced to him before, but I want to introduce you to Chip once again. This little boy is 1 year old. He's being fostered in the West Covina area. He was dumped by somebody, and he has now gotten his second round of shots. He's coming up on getting a neuter. We just have to pick up a sedative on Monday because he does not like being examined. So he's a good dog. He loves kids. He loves other dogs. He's incredibly smart. If you are interested in adopting this 1 year old mixed breed pup by the name of Chip, reach out to me on my social or Guidry'sGuardianDodge.org. All right, what do you have coming up on your show? Before we get to that, though, here's a baseball thought for the road. What do you think about Anthony Banda? If you would have had Anthony as the leader in wins in Major League Baseball, would you have picked that?
Of course. I talked to him during spring training. I gave him that good juju. We got synergy going right there. But the real AB, another one we'll call the real AB here. Banda leading baseball with 3 wins. That's pretty funny. People say wins don't mean anything. Wins mean something to me, even if a pitcher's going in there and, well, he hasn't vultured any. He's just been that guy who's come in after a short start from somebody or whatever. I don't know. I'm going nowhere with this, but I love Anthony Banda. I love that. And also, it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. You know, here's something that also means absolutely nothing. The poll has been completed. We got 50 votes. 46% say relax. It's April and they're 9-2. 54% of the vote say send them to the moon.
Straight
so
to the
obviously,
moon.
we got a lot of folks overreacting on Pasillas, but there you have it. All right, what's coming up on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas tonight?
Well, today it is an early game, so instead of trying to force a pregame show where we're already pre-gaming here, I will be post-gaming myself, and I believe producer Kevin will be joining me if he's up for the task. But yeah, we'll be talking about hopefully Dustin May going 2-0 on the season. Don't remember if he actually won or not. But anyways, hopefully the Dodgers win this game. So tune in to my channel, All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. See it there on the screen. We will be live after the game.
All right, Max Muncy is going to be joining Foul Territory tomorrow, so tune in to Foul to hear from Max, hear about the White House visit, of course, and why he threw out his torpedo bat. Thanks for watching, everybody. Clint and I are back on Thursday with you. Eric Karros, who was in Philadelphia, is going to be joining us on Thursday. Bring a friend, smash that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Let's go 10-2 tonight. Go Dodgers.
I like it. Bye.